Hello and welcome to another episode of Make Love Real, How to Create More Love in Your Life. I'm Mia Saenz, and in this episode you get to meet Kate Furnish. Now I've known Kate for a couple years. She's a delightful woman. She teaches in a lot of ways that I teach, and that's why she's on this show. Her heart is really big, and I'm going to turn it over to her so that she can give us our story. And first of all, I forgot to say welcome because you and I were chatting before. Welcome, Kate. It's wonderful to have you here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm excited for the work that you are doing in the world. I mean, what better time than to make love real? It's
That's
not
right.
just feeling it, it's knowing it. It's knowing that we are loved and that we are love. And we need that in the world right now. We're learning how connected we are through this virus that's spreading. I think one of the beautiful things we're learning is our connection and how we affect each other. And we're seeing people be there for one another. So I'm excited to be here. And I'll tell you a little bit about who I am so that your listeners know. Welcome. I'm glad that you're here and listening. Really, what I teach is to help people move from overwhelm to peace and freedom, to create a life that they enjoy, that they love living. When I was a child, I experienced torture, and I was the queen of overwhelm. My system physically knew how to get overwhelmed. That was part of what I experienced. And so anytime in life I experienced something that was hovering around overstimulation or too much, I went right to that place of overwhelm. It was exhausting. It was not fun. It was no way to live. And life didn't feel like a happy event for me. It felt like something I was enduring. And in my journey from overwhelm to freedom, what I can say now is that I am so deeply grateful to be alive. So astounded by the miracle of life and what we get to experience while we're here. So I really love to show people that you can be free. You can be free from trauma. You survived it. It's over. It will never be right or fair, but it can be over. And the time is now to let all those stories go and to come into who we are in this present moment and enjoy our lives and love one another in the process. And so I'm so excited to be here with you today.
I'm excited to have you here, and thank you for your opening words. They're very sweet. And thank you, of course, for sharing, which is what I asked you. And you're amazing because in this time, you bring it. What I love about you, you have a very beautiful, generous heart. And so when I talk about love work, anytime we're serving mankind and we're creating something new, it's love work, literally. We're shifting the paradigm that's out there and we're moving it into another space, an open space, getting out of that overwhelm. It's really beautiful that you teach this, the work that you teach, you do what you do. And I will always call it love work because it literally changes the way that we connect, the way that we see, the way that we feel. Nobody wants to be in overwhelm, right?
Yeah.
And so we all have these stories, thank God we do. And what you and I do is help people break that energy and shift that story into something that's different. And so in this time of all this stress and frustration, where if you're looking at this much later on YouTube, you'll see that this is a time during the coronavirus. And so it's powerful to come together with colleagues, with friends that are colleagues like this, and be able to say, we're here for you. So let's talk about overwhelm to freedom.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you one of the simplest ways to do this. And I love the keep it simple principle, right? The KISS principle. So some people will say, keep it simple, sweetie. Mm-hmm. And the simplicity is living from the inside out. because when I was in overwhelm, I was constantly searching for answers. How do I get out of this? Why does it seem like other people feel better and I'm not feeling well, or I'm feeling stressed, even when outwardly maybe it wouldn't look like I was feeling that. And I kept searching for how to do it right, how to get the magic formula so that I could avoid those feelings. And one of the solution, the secret that I found was that when you connect within, so first of all, stop resisting the overwhelm and feel what's there and what it's there to teach you and tell you. That's one of the ways we start to love ourselves and connect to our own heart, not judging what's there, not avoiding or resisting what's there, but accepting what's there. And then when we start to accept that, we can start to examine, what is it that I need? Maybe we even start to open to what is the need in the moment or in your life, the desire you're not listening to, the dream you're not going for, that you need to stop and have a meal. From the big scale to the smallest scale, it opens up the space for you to start to realize what it is that you need. And what's right for you. So I call that the simple principle of coming from your center. Instead of trying to figure out the right answer, you just get to decide, is that right for me? Is that the direction I want to go? Is that what I need right now? And even as we're talking, you can feel the space open up. And I loved what you were saying at the beginning about love and making it real and not wanting to be in those places that are uncomfortable of overwhelm. And when you come to those places of love, the capacity just continues to increase. When it's real, you still get to keep going forward. You still get to keep going deeper. And that first thing, when you feel the stress or the overwhelm, what if you can turn your attention back to yourself with love and acceptance and notice what's there?
I love that. I love that, because when we do it, those who practice this, when we do it on ourselves, right? We are our first guinea pigs. We get to a place where we get to know who we are, our body, our mind, our spirit. When you actually get to the present moment and you're feeling it, right? Whether it's overwhelm or a form of overwhelm that's making you go, ugh, it's beautiful to be able to recognize that. How does my body feel? What is it saying? What do I need? How do I change it? And as you begin to recognize that, you're like, wow, I'm in alignment here. I'm starting to see and move out of it so that I don't even get into it again, right? Instead of just staying in it. I also have to say your keep it short, sweetie. I call it the KISS theory. But I use it for everything. It's kiss, kick, kiss. But it's also similar to what you're saying, because it's like you lavish somebody, then you share the thing that you have to, and then you lavish them again, with love. And so when you said that, I'm like, that's KISS. I use that, but I use it slightly different. So again, synchronicity. So I just had to throw that in, because I was just like, the whole time I'm thinking, oh my God, she has her own form of KISS. And this is all part of how humanity should be. We should be able to enjoy each other. We should be able to, as we're conversing, we're talking about things that can be overwhelming and stressful, but they're not for us. Why? Because we've worked through them. We look in the face, the face of the overwhelm, and we can say, not this time. I'm not playing that game.
Yeah.
So I love that. I really do. And it does take practice. It's not super easy for people, but if we breathe through it, right? And with recognition and the praises for ourselves as we're doing it, honoring those moments of recognition, that's when things open up. That's when we're able to actually move through it very quickly.
Yeah, because it doesn't mean that all of a sudden everything is rainbows and unicorns, right? And we never have stress or trials. We're in that period right now. And one of the ways we move through it is by being present to ourselves and honoring what's there and what's there in our experience. So instead of stuffing it in a backpack behind us and carrying it, and then you are going to open it up 10 years from now, you stay in your heart and open it up so that you move through it instead of carrying it. And I really want to encourage people now, like, a lot of love and compassion and grace for yourself, for whatever you're going through in your experience. And then connecting with others and remembering that we are connected. There is so much love and support for you here.
There is. It's beautiful. It really is. Now, along with understanding overwhelm, let's talk about simplicity and how to start bringing that into our life, because simplicity is the opposite of overwhelm.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, I mean, the first part to start is from the inside out, and that's easier said than done. They're simple principles, but not always simple in practice. You know, I think one of the things that makes things complex and hard is trying to have it all figured out. So we can say from the inside out, and if that doesn't make sense to you, checking in with yourself. Also, what about just one step at a time? That simplifies it, doesn't it? Immediately.
It does. It does. One step at a time is for everything. Okay. This is why people don't do their self-love work or their interpersonal work, because it's overwhelming. And you just hit the nail on the head. The easiest way to start is one step at a time, right? Any journey begins with that first step of ease.
Yeah.
Back to you in the studio.
Yeah, back to me. We take it all on at once. We want the transformation before we've done the work. And we get to start where we are. We get to start exactly where we are and love that. And if it's a small step and it feels right, like looking at yourself in the mirror, I know Mia does mirror work, and saying, I love you. Good morning. If it starts there and that feels good, maybe you start doing it in the evening too. Maybe all of a sudden it adds to itself because you find it's adding to your life. And it's a choice, not an obligation. So simplicity requires us to trust ourselves, and it requires us to remember that we have choices. Overwhelm sometimes happens when we just we feel like life is happening to us, right? My gosh, this is all happening. How do I handle it? Instead of life is happening for us, or maybe even through us.
It's so interesting because I've met with thousands of women, you too, the idea of the overwhelm stopping their journey forward is crazy. If people understood and could actually feel ahead of time, or at least listen to us and take our word for it and try it, if you can take your journey forward and get out of the overwhelm and not allow it to control you, each moment, each step is an add-on. It replaces the energy of what's existing, and it brings in the grace of ease. That's one thing that I want everybody to understand. Let's talk about that, because most people don't want to take the journey because or they stop after they're on it because they're getting through their stuff, their stories, the pain, and they feel overwhelmed. It's too much. It's not too much. It brings us energy. It brings us, our time literally shifts and changes. We have more time, we have more energy, we have more joy, we have more hope, we have more love as we do this work. Can we talk about that?
Yeah. Well, and what comes to mind for me as you're saying that is just a heart for the women and the listeners. There's a lot of shame with overwhelm. When I was my most overwhelmed, one period of my life when I was really overwhelmed was when I had my third child. So I had 3 children at home. I was a stay-at-home mom, and I just thought I should handle everything, right? And you're home, so how can you not get through the day, right? And she's laughing, Mia is laughing because she has children too, and she knows what a big job that is. And we honor all the moms that are home with their kids. It's a huge job. And there was some shame in that, like, I'm supposed to have it figured out, you know, all the pressure I put on myself to not allow myself to always show people that how overwhelmed I was, or how much of a struggle it was, or just physically, it's hard. And I think that kept me hidden for a long time, and it kept me blocked and stuck because I wasn't willing to say, this is hard, because it was my dream and I wanted it. And I loved that time in my life. It was just way harder than I expected. And I didn't have the support there. And what you said, I remember a friend saying to me, something hadn't gone exactly as I planned, or something she said, grace, Kate, you need to give yourself more grace. And it's just what you're talking about. Like, can we give ourselves the grace to say, this is messy, this is hard, whatever it is we're walking through. It's confusing. I don't always have it all figured out. This went well today, this didn't go so well today. And also, when we're talking about trauma, when you start to do the work to release that, it is hard. There's a reason you didn't feel it at the time, because it was too much. And we do have the grace that allows us to forget things, disassociate. There are things we have that have allowed us to survive. And now what we're talking about is thriving. And so if you're in that place where it feels like it's just too much, that's the place where we want you to have support, because you will get through it. And when you break through, the freedom, the light at the end of the tunnel, the beauty, it's there waiting for you. We promise.
Yeah, we promise. Seriously, it's so true. We really want to gift people exactly what we feel and what we know, but we can't give them that lightness, that beauty, that energy, because it's something that's earned, it's something that's developed, it's something that's created. It is almost swimming. It feels like swimming upstream. It feels like you're swimming outside of the unknown. But once you get the hang of it, once you get the stepping into it, there's nothing more joyous to be self-connected, right? Yeah. And to allow the wounds and the scars and the pain and the abuse and the nightmares and everything, it didn't touch you on a human or a spiritual level. And so you are human in spirit. And so if you're a really spiritual person that holds to the divine or something, hold on to that as you go through your journey. Talk to the universe, talk to God, creator, source, Allah, Buddha, whatever you want to call it. Get in touch with it and literally master it. So we're not saying that there's one right way, wrong way, because you're not right or wrong. It's who you are, what your core belief systems are, and how to move through it. Now, I got off on that because it felt, as you were talking and you said about laughing about, because I'm a mom, I was laughing too, because I remember exactly what Kate was saying, how painful and scary it was, but it was glorious and beautiful. And if I could redo it, I would. But I do want to start over again. But I love where I am now. And the fact is we're leaving a legacy for our children, for our family, for our friends. How can you create a better life for you? That's what I've left my children. How can you create? And that's why I did this work. That's why I changed my life when I was dying. And I literally was like, I have to leave a legacy, even if it's simply to show my children that they can face things and conquer it. Even if I had those only 2 years left to live that the doctors gave me. Wow. I had to show them, right? So every person, connects to their why. Connect to your why. What do you want to create? I'm very passionate about this right now because of the coronavirus. We're seeing fear. We're standing in the place where people are fearful, and we're passing you love, and some people don't understand it and some people do. So it's okay. It's okay. Gentleness.
Well, and the time is now. The urgency that Mia is talking about. If you're not going to be free now, then when? Claim your freedom. Claim that you are free from whatever happened to you or was done to you. It's time. It's time not to let that hold you back anymore, because really it's over. And I know it doesn't feel like it's over, and it seems like that's so simple for me to say, but it is. Look at where you are right now in this space listening to this. Are you okay? Are you safe in this moment? And if you are, I want you to go forward in that safety. I want you to create a beautiful life. I want to see your light. I want to see what the world tried to take away from you, what it tried to dim down, what it tried to hold back, but it can't anymore. And you get to come out and say it can't anymore. And we learn as we go. We learn as mothers, wow, I wish I'd maybe done it differently. And it was perfect. I remember a mother in a play group saying, you know, when else are we going to have all this fodder for self-development? Like these little people challenge you every day. They challenge how much patience you have. They challenge how much stamina you have, how much capacity to love. And we're learning too, as parents, we're learning too. And so we pray that our children forgive us our mistakes and see the love that's there. But the time for freedom is now.
It is. It is. And as Kate said, if you feel that you can step into it, step into it. And I'm going to add on to that. Even if you don't feel you can step into it, you can. You absolutely can. This is the preacher minister in me coming out. You absolutely can. You can take that next step. You can ask help, right? Either one of us, right? Anyone on this series. This is a time of coming together. This is a time of love. This is a time of you. This is a time of you. Nobody maybe has told you that it's your time. It's your time to grow. It's your time to flourish. It's your time to expand. Okay, whew. This was deeper, a lot deeper than I thought. I love this. So we were going to talk about tools, but we're running out of time and we still might get to it. You have a free gift for us. I have a feeling there's tools in there.
There are. It's called self-care for the single parent or caregiver, but please don't let that title exclude you. I mean, it's really for anyone who has overwhelm, and that was another period in my life, still being a single parent, where things there's a temptation to be overwhelmed, and just 5 principles to keep you in peace, and 5 sound principles to keep you in peace. And we did talk about tools, and I'll refresh, paying attention to yourself, accepting yourself where you are, coming at things from simplicity by coming from your center out, what's right for you, and taking things one step at a time. So those are in there if you listen back to this recording. And also remember, not only is your time now, you are loved. You matter. You're important to the process and the connection of all of us.
I want to expand on something that I think is really important. We're fortunate to have Kate here because, yes, she's Kate, the teacher and coach, but Kate is also a physical therapist. So she understands what love can do to your body. And when you step into this place of love, can you talk about that just for a teeny weeny bit about how clearing this stuff actually clears up a lot of the, not just what we call it, energy blocks and things like that, but it also clears up a smooth passage for everything in your body to start functioning again.
Yeah, I mean, so much of part of coming into that healing is just like you were talking about, the awareness when you're trying to move through something, being aware of what's happening in our bodies, right? So something as simple as I'm bracing, my shoulders are coming up, there's tension. Some people are walking around like that, not realizing how much tension. And when they can find the relaxation, they know the contrast, and we can come back to that. And our body is a fantastic place to start to develop our awareness, because it talks to us all the time, right? Yes. Your body tells you when you have to go to the bathroom. It tells you when you're hungry. It tells you when you're thirsty. Are you listening? Mm-hmm. And if you're not, maybe it's time to become friends with your body again.
Yes, the beautiful body. Body has so much wisdom, so much love. Yes.
Yeah, it'll give us signals, you know, just signals of, you walk near a person, you're like, I don't want to be near that person, right? Mm-hmm. It'll give you signals, or, oh, I feel so open and relaxed around that person. And when you are loving yourself and taking care of yourself, your body having that ability to relax on a much deeper level, that's where we heal, that state of the sympathetic state where we're relaxed. Sometimes I get those backwards, so I have to think about it. And then we're free to move and interact and be. Mm-hmm. We get this beautiful body to live in. And so I encourage you all to come into your body, to notice what's there.
Yes. It's so powerful. We have this, that's a human, this beautiful body, and our spirit resides within it. And together we can be incredibly magnificent human beings. Even if no one's ever told you, you are magnificent. Absolutely. Okay, Kate. So before we let you go, will you share with us what you shared so much, but one last thing that's on your heart and your mind that you'd like the world to know?
Well, what I wrote down, we kind of covered, was that the time is now. That really is it. And I'm just going to tune into my heart. The time is now to know that you are loved, to have the hope and the belief that it's somewhere. And if you need to start with your divine connection, because that is the source of love, start there. And then find one person that will reflect that back to you. And we're here to do that. You are loved. And your time to live from that truth is now.
Absolutely. That's really beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us, Kate. It was lovely to have you on. Yay.
And thank you for what you are creating in the world, and what you have been creating for years and years and years. Mia is a master at this. Mia is a wonderful person to support you in so many ways, to get you right to the heart of bringing that love into your life. And let's all have more love in our lives, beyond our wildest expectations or dreams or imagination, each day.
Absolutely. That was really beautiful. Thank you. And I have to say that, you know, over time, I've learned to accept compliments, and they're beautiful. Most people would be squiggling and wiggling in that position. So thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And thank you all for joining us for another episode of Make Love Real, How to Create More Love in Your Life. And we'll see you in the next one.